your hand and a pen. Okay. So Sukadev Goswami said Maharaj Ambrish was the most fortunate personality. And he became the ruler of the whole world, of the whole universe. There's 7 islands. And he attained inexhaustible, unlimited opulence and prosperity on the earth. So, he had a very exalted position. It's rarely obtained, but he didn't care for it at all. Yeah.
What are the 7 islands?
We'll find out. Yeah. Just like you have different islands in the earth, right? Australia is one, right? All of Eurasia is another one. Europe and Asia. Then you have Africa. You can consider it like an island, yeah. It has a little connection with the Suez Canal, yeah. And then you have the United States and Canada, and then you have South America. So the United States, Canada is one. Then you have South America. It's also a very little connection. You have Greenland. You have Antarctica and Arctic. So if you count them, how many is that? Huh? So you have Australia, Eurasia, Africa, United States and Canada, South America. No, that's part of it. And then Antarctica and Arctic, so that's 7.
What about the smaller islands?
They're insignificant. Yeah. They're tiny break-offs from the bigger ones. Yeah. So what are the 7 islands in the universe? I'm not sure, but we'll find out. So Maharaj Yudhisthira was, Ambrish was not attached to anything that he had, although he had everything in at least this one material world. And he considered all this opulence as merely material, like something that you imagine in a dream, and ultimately, when you wake up, it's not there. So he didn't consider it like something that's like integral to him. Like he was strongly attached to it. And this Maharaj Ambrish knew that any non-devotee who attains such opulence merges increasingly into the material nature's mode of darkness. That's why he wasn't attached, because he knows that if an ordinary person attains a lot of opulence, even a little bit of opulence, they end up in the mode of ignorance. What is the mode of ignorance? That is being very selfish and greedy and getting angry easily. And so that's all the mode of ignorance. Maharaj Ambrish understood everything is temporary in the material world. But the demons and the non-devotees, they consider this temporary happiness as the most important thing in life. And they forget, because of that, they forget all about self-realization. So for a non-devotee, material opulence is disqualification for spiritual life and spiritual advancement. So therefore, devotees are not interested in acquiring material opulence. But if Krishna gives it to them, they only use it in the service of Krishna, because they're not really interested in it for their sense gratification. Whereas the materialists, they go crazy over material opulence. They can't get enough of it. And because of that, all their attempts at spiritual advancement fail. So Maharaj Ambarish was certainly a great devotee of Krishna and of saintly persons who are the Lord's devotees. And because he was such a great devotee, he considered the whole universe insignificant. And he was always engaged in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. His words described the glories of the Lord. His hands cleaned the temple of the Lord. And his ears were always hearing the glories of the Lord. And he was using his eyes to see the deity of the Lord and the temples. And visiting Vrindavan and Mathura, and he would use the sense of touch to touch the devotees' bodies, serve them, in other words. And he engaged his smelling sense to smell the fragrance of the tulsi leaves offered to the Lord, and he engaged in his tongue in tasting prasadam, and legs in walking to holy places and temples, and his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Maharaj Ambarish didn't desire anything else for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. Do you understand that? How do you become free of all material desires? Yes. Yes. So, Krishna recommends this. He says, Maya Sakta Manak Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya Samsayam Samagramam Yatagyasya Shrinu. And this is the 6th chapter, 1st verse of Bhagavad Gita. No, I'm sorry. This is the 7th chapter, 1st verse. Maya Sakta Manak Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya. Yeah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So you can know Krishna if you use all your senses, like Maharaj Ambarish, in the service of Krishna. But to do that correctly, you have to be advised by a genuine devotee or a pure devotee guru. Otherwise, it's not possible. You can't train yourself without the guidance of a spiritual master or spiritual masters. Therefore, the number one business or the number one preoccupation of a devotee is to accept a bona fide spiritual master who can train him and engage the various senses of the devotee in rendering transcendental service to the Lord. The Lord also says, Samsayam samagramam yata gyasyasi tatshrinu, which means that if you engage fully in Krishna's service, then samsayam, you will not have any doubts, samagram, and you'll be completely dedicated to the Lord. So, therefore, if you want to understand Krishna completely, one must follow these instructions given by Krishna. And Krishna says, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate, that he is the proprietor of the senses. Therefore, bhakti or devotional service means using all the senses in the service of Krishna. And therefore Krishna is called Hrishikesha, the master of the senses, the proprietor of the senses. Okay, so then, in performing his prescribed duties, Maharaj Ambarish always offered the result of his royal activities, his activities as a king, to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's the enjoyer of everything, and he's beyond the perception of the material senses.